in this video we are going to talk about emotional authority in human design. What does it all mean? And I have an example for you about being an HD reader, a human design reader, and how emotional authority plays out in my life because I'm an emotional authority. So hello, welcome to this video, welcome to this channel. My name is Trini Cubillos if you don't already know me. And my passion is showing us all how to tap into joy through living our human design. So this video is going to be divided in 3 parts. The first one, I'm just going to explain to you what having an emotional authority in human design is. The second part is what are the implications of that? So if you have an emotional authority, how would that affect your life and what kind of choices or what kind of behavioral changes would you have to make in order to align yourself to your design? And when I say align yourself to your design, I mean work in the way that you're meant to work, interchange energies with the outside world in the way that you're actually meant to, in the way that flows. And what that will cause in your life is, of course, more flow, more ease. You're going to feel like you're one with the universe, working together with it instead of always kind of working against it and trying to force things to happen and getting frustrated or angry or whatever it is. And then lastly, I'm going to give you an example and tell you a little bit about how emotional authority plays out in my life. Now, let me tell you, it plays out in many, many ways in my relationships and many things. But one thing that I've noticed lately is in my job, which is I'm a human design reader. And just one little example of how that plays out, because I feel that when we share examples about our own life and our own understanding of our charts, that's when we really can start to be like, oh, okay, like I see how that very theoretical information can be pulled down into reality and into things that make our lives more practical. Okay, so what is emotional authority? Basically, if you have an emotional authority, what that means is that your solar plexus, so in the chart, the center that is like around here, but actually the chart is not representing where the chakras actually are. The solar plexus is somewhere around here, like where the center of my tie-dye shirt is. So if you have that center, the solar plexus, colored in, it usually will be the color brown, but it depends on what software you're using. Then what that means is that you have the solar plexus defined, and that makes you automatically an emotional authority. And being an emotional person, that's what we call it in HD, which is, should be changing, because the people that are non-emotional, it doesn't mean that they don't live emotions. So that's kind of a misconception that is always happening with the language. But when you have an emotional authority and you have a solar plexus defined, what that means is that you're a person that biologically goes through roller coaster kind of thing of emotion, a wave of emotions we call it, where you're living ups and downs at your own rhythm, at your own flow. And you might have a particular type of flow that's unique to you, and you're living it because of a biological process. It's not because of things that are happening in your outside reality. It's just something that is part of you, and you might wonder, like, why would we ever want that? Why would I want lows in my life? But the thing is that if you're an emotional person, if you have an emotional authority, you are actually here meant to have this depth to you. Emotions, what they do is when you live your own emotions and you're going through life with this filter of emotions, it gives you a very deep understanding of things. You get this depth of understanding that other people don't, because emotions help you to see situations in different perspectives. And so when you have an emotional solar plexus defined, or an emotional authority, that means that you're going to be living this emotional roller coaster, and it means that because of that, you're never going to be able to see the moment right now for what it really is. So all that live in the now kind of stuff, it still applies to you, but you can't really see the truth in the now. Now let me explain. Why can't you see the truth in the now? Because you always have emotion-colored glasses. So you'll have like lovely colored glasses or shitty colored glasses, right? Or any kind of glasses that is blocking you from seeing the moment for what it really is. So say you're like having a really good day, one of those days where everything's going perfect, and somebody's like, hey, I was thinking of going camping. Do you want to go camping in a couple weeks? And then you're just feeling like so happy that day and everything's going well, and you're like, oh, that sounds amazing. Yeah, let's go camping. But guess what? A week passes and you're like, ooh, I don't want to go camping. That's not my thing. And so what made the decision? It wasn't really the truth. Like if you're a generator, for example, and you're responding with your gut and you felt your gut respond, it's not that you didn't, but it was a little clouded. The whole judgment was clouded by these emotions. So long story short, if you have an emotional authority, the one most important thing that you have to focus on is on waiting for clarity. Waiting for clarity. For emotional authority, which by the way is around 50% of the world's population, so a lot of us are walking around being really emotional, we have to wait. And we're not meant to make decisions in the now. We're not meant to make decisions impulsively. And ironically enough, we're the ones that are usually making impulsive decisions. Like before I knew I was an emotional authority and I understood the implications of it, impulsivity ruled my life and it was making me really unhappy. So that's kind of the big thing when you're an emotional authority to understand, is that you have to wait for clarity. That with time, what will happen is you will get a better picture of the situation and of how you feel about it. So for example, say you're a generator and your strategy is to respond with your gut, like me, then say somebody wants to go camping with you and asks you and your gut says yes. If in a period of time where your emotional wave is fluctuating, your gut response stays the same and you're just constantly like, yes, I'm really excited for this trip, no matter where in your emotional wave you are, then that's a confirmation that you have emotional clarity, and then that you must go and take that action, that that's correct for you, that that action is correct for you. Okay, so let me give you an example in my own life. I know I love to hear examples of other HD people talking about their lives, so here it goes. So I started offering HD readings or sessions a while back. In the beginning, they were just donations when I was gaining my confidence, and then when I had a little bit more confidence, I did like basic HD readings and then transitioned to what I do now, which is sessions. First thing I assured myself when I started working with this kind of, sessions and reading people's charts and guiding them with their energies, which for me is like a big responsibility. And it was a little nerve-wracking in the beginning. First thing I made sure was that my Calendly app, the app that I use to schedule those calls and that people can schedule them by themselves, was set so that nobody could schedule a call for like tomorrow or even like the day after tomorrow in the morning. So as an emotional authority, I need time to say, okay, I got a session with this person and it's not just coming up right now. And I'm sure that will maybe change with time as I get more and more confident in my work, but definitely it gives me this peace of mind knowing that I have some time to process the fact that I have this session coming up, and at the same time to process the name of the person, the information of the person. So the second piece of this example is that in the beginning, I started experimenting with a lot of different modalities of how I could do this work, and sometimes I would, prepare a person's chart like days in advance and do a whole analysis and spend maybe a couple hours working on it. And then the day came and it didn't feel that right. It didn't flow so much. And so I started trying to just working on it on the day of. And then that didn't work out at all. As an emotional authority, I felt like I was being impulsive. I felt like I wasn't giving myself the time for it to flow the way that it needed to flow. And then the last thing that I started doing, which is working perfectly and which is what gave me the idea for this video, because it really, I think, reflects what it is like to be an emotional authority, is I get this, reservation for a session. I get the person's information and I'm super excited that I get to see somebody else in the light of human design, that I get to guide somebody else with my energies through what they're going through with this amazing knowledge that Ra gave us. And so what I'll do is the day I get it, when I'm super excited, I'm feeling that emotion, I tap into that. I tap into being grateful for the work that I do, and I open the person's chart. I get the person's chart and I look at the energy and I feel their energy as a person. Because once you start doing this more and more with HD, it's crazy how you can start feeling people's energies just by looking at the chart. And so I will look at it that day and just kind of sit with the chart. And then what I'll do is I'll revisit it in a day, and I'll take note of one thing here, one thing there, and I'll probably take note of the things that I want to maybe look over before I have the session. And then maybe the day before the session or the day off, I kind of put all the things that I've looked at together and look at the last pieces that I want to kind of put together. And then again, I just kind of sit with the chart with everything that I've analyzed, but not kind of sticking to this information, but just kind of wanting to be with the energy and incorporating everything I've learned about the person through research. It's been amazing how such a little switch, how you're going to structure your business process and the way you do the readings, has affected my way of working and has affected the quality of the sessions I'm giving to people. When I'm able to get emotional clarity of a person's chart, just by starting off by feeling their energies and giving myself time to kind of get into this person and fully understand what it is that they might be needing or what it is that the chart is trying to convey to me in particular, I feel like that's been the big piece of me becoming more and more confident in my work, and that's due to the sessions being more and more in flow. Okay, so this is just a very small example of how I see this emotional authority play in my real life. And I think the key is that there's no right way that we're gonna do things. There's no list of exact things that we have to do as an emotional authority, except maybe for the word wait for clarity. The words wait for clarity are really important. But more than anything, it's starting to play with your own energies and understanding that you're not a person of the moment and that you're a person that kind of needs to sip the cup of tea little by little, if that metaphor works. So I want to encourage you with this video to think of your own emotional authority examples, because I'll tell you guys, it's really through thinking and kind of sitting with the energies and analyzing how it is that they're playing a role in your life that you really start to understand the energies and understand yourself. And the more that we understand ourselves, the more that we're going to love ourselves. And the more that we love ourselves, the more that we're going to have love to feel and, feel abundant and amazing, but also be able to give out our excess energy and help the world become a better place, because why wouldn't we want to do that, right? So I hope that this video has been really helpful. If you like learning from me and my energies, you can check out the links below. Until next time.